Well, hello, dear ones. Hi there. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. It's so wonderful to come to you live every couple weeks here at the Raw Reset private Facebook group. You are so welcome here, dear ones. Whether you're here with me live or catching the recording, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me to show up in this way for you and for myself. You know, community is really, really important to me. And speaking of community, one of our fellow regenerative detoxification specialists, Pascal, should be joining us pretty soon for this beautiful live chat. And the topic for today, what drives you to stay high raw fruitarian? So this is definitely something that I've thought a lot about and I'm really excited to get to today with y'all. So if you're here with us live, drop a comment. Let me know, how are you doing on your healing journey, your regenerative healing journey? Do you have any questions? Is there anything I can help you out with? This is what these lives are for. So really happy to be able to hold space for you beautiful members here and friends. So I just give a few more moments while we welcome some more in and see if our dear one Pascal will be joining. It's so lovely to have him, and we just flow with whatever is, you know. Right now I have some cacao medicine. I have mixed with coconut milk and this herbal tea, 7x7 alka herb, that we recommend in the group under files. You can see the order form, and there's a bunch of products that we work with that have been designed to support one on their healing journey. So yeah, really excited for this beautiful medicine with 49 organic herbs that work to carry acids and toxins out of the body, and also the cacao being a heart opener. So salute to good health, dear ones. Thank you so much for being here. Wow, what beautiful medicine. We'll just see if maybe Pascal sends a little note if he's still going to make it. What are you guys up to? Drop a comment. Let me know how you're doing, what's new in your life. I really would love to share with you. I could just delve right into this topic. You know, what drives you to be a high raw fruitarian? And I would just say the very first thing I did to stay committed to my journey was to write a list of my health goals and the reasons that I do this in the first place. And that list is extensive, so I won't go through my personal list. Some of you know that I've had tremendous healing from a C-spine injury, multiple concussions, degenerative condition in my jaw joint, chronic sinusitis, chronic inner ear infections. We know now are actually outfections, right? This is just the body getting something out, something harmful out. So it's not really an infection. I work with the alkaline acid balance. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a regenerative detoxification specialist and alkaline health coach. I have my certifications from a healer in Germany, Dr. Jen Shura, and Dr. Robert Morris in Florida at the International School of Healing Arts and Sciences. So really honored to be showing up in this way and sharing in this way and connecting with you all in this way. So this is really great. I don't see any comments as of yet, and I just would love to know that everyone can hear me okay. So if you are catching this live, just like let me know. Oh, I see Pascal is asking where the link is. I emailed you, dear one. Yeah, there's so many ways to send things now, right? Looking at WhatsApp, probably Telegram, who knows, you know, he's waiting for it on a text. Sometimes we do different ways, right? So nice to have grace for one another. Thank you all for your patience with getting this live going today. Just want to see if I'm getting comments or not. Anyone is here with me? Do we know? Oh, Pascal is joining. How lovely. Let's say hello to Pascal. Hi, sweet angel. How are you, dear one?
I'm fine, thanks.
It's so good to have you. I wasn't sure if you would make it on, so I feel relieved that you are here for this beautiful live on what drives one to stay high raw fruitarian. And I was just talking about the first point is, making a list of all of your health goals, any of your previous ailments, anything that you still have that's ailing you. Obviously, these are going to drive you to stay on a high raw fruitarian lifestyle of abundance, as I call it. And that still means having vegetables too and botanicals, not all fruit. What about you, Pascal? Given any thought to this topic yet? Or you like to enlighten us on what's going on with you, how your day's been, anything like this?
I've been fasting on fruit, so I'm a bit irritable. So
Okay. I sensed a little something. Pascal and I know each other so well now that he'll say, I'm fine, thanks. And anyone else would just take that as, oh, he's fine. And I'll read into the energy behind it, the tone. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that. So thanks for enlightening us on what's going on with you. And congratulations on your fruit feasting. You like to tell us a little more how many days you've been doing this, or has it been a day or?
No, just this morning.
Okay, that's a long day. It's already 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You've had the entire day on very light, high energetic food.
I'm just tired. I'm just tired because my adrenals are down. So.
So Pascal's working on healing his adrenal glands. And if you haven't been following, Pascal is a certified regenerative detox specialist in Ottawa. And he offers private sessions, one-on-one, in person and distant, just like myself. So feel free to reach out if you're looking for a regenerative healer to have in your life and to help you to step into your regenerative healer hat, because we're all healers at the end of the day. The body just heals itself naturally if you just get out of its way. So Pascal, your journey's been really interesting. I know you work a lot. You do a lot of physical labor with some of those skills and trades you have on the side, and yeah, like you've been indulging now and then in caffeine via coffee. As I've been indulging in my cacao, I was telling people I was having a little cacao today, really in a celebration mode. So we've switched now. Jin's got her stimulant and you're without yours. It's so interesting.
What was I going to say? No, I remember, sometimes you have to deal with life and put your healing on hold, because when you're healing, you're vulnerable. You're opened up, right? But when you're working, when you're busy, that's a little more acidic. So
Well, the dense chemistry too in the diet, right? Like you haven't had any dense
Right.
chemistry today. So you're kind of like, whoa, like, yeah, you're open, you're vulnerable. That's, I think, the right way to describe it. And a lot of people don't put that together. My partner recently, I picked him up around this time of day, a few days ago. And he was like, oh, like, I'm starving. I've been fasting. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he's like, well, I ate breakfast and later I had a smoothie. And I was like, okay. So, and then we were listening to this recent live that I did with Kuba, another fellow detox specialist that we're friends with. If you guys aren't familiar with Raw Kuba, you can follow him on Instagram or find him here in the group, the Raw Reset, and on Facebook. And also he has a YouTube, and him and I went live, and we were just listening to the recording, my partner and I. When I picked him up the other day, I had it playing in my car, and a woman was like commenting and saying she was on day 44 of a juice feast. And my partner's like saying that he's starving and like the emotions are all out there and he's like moody. And I'm like, okay, babe, like, like I'm trying not to compare the two, right? Because everyone's path is different. And for him, that was a very light day. I want to say one other thing. And then if you want to go back to that thought, Pascal, I didn't mean to cut you off. I held space for a woman, my very first time holding a psilocybin ceremony one-on-one with a beautiful woman this past weekend over the Victoria Day holiday here in Canada. And yeah, she just reached out to me and was like, I'm really drawn to this medicine. And I helped her with microdosing. And then I went over to her home and I held space for her where I actually sat with 2 grams of the medicine. And I've been without these teachers all year on purpose, just to make sure I wasn't using it as a crutch. I come from an addictive personality. So after a few years of working with these teachers, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break. And at this point, I was really like, it was very clear. Spirit said, you got to journey with her. That's how you're going to best hold space for her. You could take a microdose, but better to just delve in with her. And the protocol was, to prepare for the medicine, very much like our regenerative program here at the Raw Reset, no fermented foods, no real dense chemistry, really limiting, like bread and like pastas and things like this. The week prior, at least a few days prior to ceremony, no chocolate, there was like a whole, we have a dieta, we call it, right? And so then the day of dieta, I guess it's Spanish, like diet, right? They call it like a special diet. And so the day of, she had her, break fast, her first meal of the day. And then that was it. And that was before noon. And I got to her place. We were going to start ceremony at 4 p.m. and enjoy this medicine during the light hours of the day, which is beautiful. Because sometimes you journey in the dark, it can bring out a lot of shadowy stuff. So it ended up being a very light experience. But the point of my story is that even when I got to her, she's someone that is not been on our program before, has no experience with, juice feasting or fruit feasting. So for her to be fasting from before noon to 4, that was a big chunk of hours for her. She felt quite vulnerable. And I told her, okay, I'm on par to be there for 3 p.m. And she wrote me back, I'm hungry, and people just aren't used to this. And that's fine, and even for experienced people with detox, just taking time away from these solid foods can be kind of trippy, like in itself, forget about the mushroom medicine. Like it's a trip being that free, in your physicality, and that affects the emotional and mental body. So some of us, it will stir up anger, irritability, frustration. These are all very normal. So I commend you, Pascal, working with the physicality to access all the other good stuff, because I know you're motivated, I think, highly by the spiritual realms and things like this, working with your spiritual body, but I don't want to speak for you.
Well, the physical world it grabs you, eh? And I don't know how to explain it, but I think when you're really connected to your higher power and the universe and everyone, you don't have that, you have less desire because you're fulfilled already. You're almost one.
If you feel that wholeness.
So there's balance, and you don't feel the need to go outside in the outside and and get what you want, because you have it already. You have the peace. And
Absolutely.
In the past year or so, or a couple of years, I've allowed myself to go out in the world and try to claim whatever I want, and play,
And this was after a lot of internal stuff, like staying in solitude and stuff like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Wow.
play, because this is a playground, on the planet, and we get to destroy, we get to build, we get to do all these cool things. But there's a lot of, from my perspective, there's healing needed afterwards.
Mm-hmm. It can take a lot out of you, right?
Yeah, and there's the emotional aspect to playing, because we're in these, you meet people outside, you make bonds, you hurt, we're here to learn, so we make mistakes. We hurt ourselves, we hurt others, we judge others, we judge ourselves.
Oh my gosh,
And
I'm completely in agreement. I watch myself with this.
But what happens when we do that is there's damage. I don't know where it is.
It's a lot to process in my mental body, for sure. Like, to sit in meditation after an experience like that, where you've gone out with a dear one and you kind of had some expectations and maybe felt disappointed, and you come back with this like awareness, wow, my mind was really judging that this person didn't behave like this, or I wanted this person to behave like this and I got this instead. And that's why vipassana, it's translated to, I think it's to see, or no, to look deeply. So this style of meditation where you just sit and watch what you're thinking and do like a body scan and like maybe watch your breath. Very little technique involved. You're just sitting. This style is to help you to digest your experience. Digesting not only your food, also your life experiences, right? There's a lot to be digested. So when you're not using all your energy to digest dense chemistry and you're having mostly fruits, holy Lord, are you ever free? And it sounds like your part of your drive, Pascal, is this ability to be this like clear channel and connected to source, like feeling whole without needing from outside of you. Like, this is what keeps you wanting to go back on your juice feasts or your fruit feasts.
Right, exactly. And I think this is what everyone deals with, conscious or not. And this is the flow towards, for lack of a better word, God or source. We're all from the same source.
Yeah. Like
we're
I
all
don't
here
picture
doing something, right?
when you say God, I don't picture an old white man sitting in the
But
clouds, like
no.
this is
But it's
Pachamama. This is whatever you believe in, guys. This higher power that's guiding you.
This is the playground has been created, and we've all been sent here. We chose to come down
I
here
believe it so,
to
yes.
do whatever. And because it's a physical, you can touch
3D,
things.
you're in the 3D matrix.
Right. And there's there's destruction because eventually, the body dies.
Well, there's duality here.
Yeah.
Whereas really we're 9-dimensional, and there's no such thing as good and bad, right and wrong,
right,
evil and
right,
holy, this and this. This is all in the 3D. This is all, and that's why, life and death, but really we're infinite beings. We continue to have lives until we expand enough that we can actually live in a different realm, a lighter realm. Some call it the God world. And if anybody's tuning in on this live, let us know, questions, comments. Pascal, you're one of my favorite regenerative detox specialists. Sorry, guys, I do play favorites because of your beautiful essence, at the soul level. I really connect with you. I feel so nourished by your presence because I know you know who you are. And even when some confusion or some of this 3D stuff tries to get in your way, your effort to come back to yourself makes me feel so inspired, and the level of presence and connection that you bring, as a spiritual being is so nourishing. And thank you for holding space. We've been friends for, I don't know if it's been like a year now, and it's completely transforming my life for the better. I would say, guys, if you need a coach, definitely reach out to Pascal. He can help you with all of the healing on all levels, mental, emotional, spiritual. Very important. When you go to a nutritionist, they're just working with the physicality. So your drive, Pascal, to stay, pure, this clear vessel, to remove obstructions through this regenerative detox program, to then connect you, keep your connection strong to source, is just so admirable. And I thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, thank you. Thanks for those kind words. It's such a weird time for me because I've it really it sucks the having to digest all the crap.
Tell me about it.
It just sucks.
The
transition. It's nice and dandy when you've been on fruit for 30 days and your gut is used to, and when you wake up you want fruit
and your bowels are clean and
exactly.
You're just free, because that's your colon is your connection to source, guys. You keep that clear, you're a clear channel. You stuff it full of animal protein, you're less of a clear channel.
Can I tell you a little story?
I love a story. Thanks, Pascal.
So I have a part-time job which is in the restaurant industry. And
you have all kinds of jobs. I love it. So
we finally went to this bar, a staff lunch, right? And oh my God, the food they dished out. I just remember it's not food. Like,
Just because you can
so,
eat it doesn't mean it's real
so,
food for your species.
and because I'm transitioning, you know, I'm kind of not in the best situation because, you know, half the time I'm on fruit. I'm finally off coffee. A little bit of black tea, which is, for me, it's a step down. It's in between. It doesn't get me super high on caffeine like coffee. But okay, so half the time I'm on fruit, half the time I'm on cooked food. And so I was eating the bar, it's bar food, okay? This was fried cauliflower, vegan, okay, fine. They had tofu, but they, you know, a whole bunch of food. And this was not, there was the only greens was the cauliflower, but it's been so denatured. But this was just not, it's not food. Like, I was so disappointed and disgusted, and I felt disgusting. And I was just looking at all these people in this on this patio outside. Nice day. And I was just picturing how sick of a society that it's just it's disappointing. But also on a spiritual level, you know, this is the path. This is it. And it is perfect in itself because that's the way, you know, we're all going back to source. Subconscious, we're not aware of it. Some of us are, but just like drinking that black tea, you know, coffee for me is too much. I tone it down to tea, black tea. That's a direction towards source. Uh,
I
but I
just want
just
to
want to
say,
say,
yeah, we both just
no,
want to
I
say
just
what.
want to reiterate that this this food was not food. It's so toxic.
I have
And
to
yet
say,
I
like,
ate it. So,
I've totally been there where I'm like observing and taking part and wanting to play in this realm, and then watching the judgments, and then wanting to let those go, and that's work. That's work, you know. So I've been there. I'm here for you, and we're here for you guys, because when you get on this journey and you start feeling so good, and then you're like, oh, but I want to go have fun. And it's an emotional event for you because food has been part of our lives, you know, when we've been in really happy situations. We're always surrounded by food. There's a birthday party, there's birthday cake, there's like indulgent foods like pizza. Oh, it's a party if there's pizza. You know, and that's a triple whammy with all of the gluten, which is blue, we've spoken about a lot, the dairy, highly mucus forming, the tomato sauce, cooked tomatoes are one of the worst things you could do to yourself. It's battery acid hot, kind of like the coffee, right? Good, you're moving away from that, Pascal. Great job. Wonderful to hear the updates on your life. And sometimes people add meat to the pizza too. So it's a quadruple whammy. You know, so I've been there. I recently started to really pull away from experiences where there will be a lot of that, because like I kind of always just want to be with like friends like you know. And I understand like the light always wants to be with the light. We have to go in the darkness though, because just your presence in light in that scenario, Pascal, supports everyone there. You're bringing that, and you partaking in having some of that, you know, fried cauliflower. Like, you don't have to eat the meat to partake in the celebration. You had the cauliflower, it still left you feeling crappy. Imagine if you had meat too, guys. Like, you know, this is a more pure vessel now, right? You've been working with detoxification, lighter foods, high electrical foods, living foods, foods that light you up, make you feel good. So when I went to Fresh Restaurant recently in Toronto, this is like our cleanest restaurant chain. A girlfriend meets me there and she's like ravenous. She had a long trip here. You know, she lives in Collingwood. It's a 2-hour drive. And without thinking, just orders the buffalo cauliflower. That's deep fried cauliflower that's made to be like chicken wings, but for like for vegans. And I was like, okay, so you're gonna get that. Like, I won't eat any of it. Just FYI, because even when I eat a couple pieces of it, because it comes with like 6, 7, 8 pieces in a big thing, and you're supposed to like share it and stuff. Usually you get addicted the first bite and you eat the whole thing, which she pretty much did, and then couldn't eat anything else after. You know, she could not even order a salad. This is Fresh Restaurant. You know, you're there for the salads, you're there for the juices. So I wasn't going to say, oh, I kind of did say I wouldn't. That's all you could say, right? When you don't approve of someone's choice, it's their life. Who am I to tell you what to eat, right? If you come to me for coaching, that's different. I'll give you the different levels and the different options. And we'll work with where you're at on your journey. I make customized programs. I think you do too, Pascal, depending on where the person wants to go. And so, you know, just, yeah, even cauliflower, like I baked a casserole recently. I was talking about on a recent live, the one I mentioned that I did with Kuba. I baked a whole casserole of like cauliflower steaks because I was like, everyone's barbecuing actual steaks. I'm going to do cauliflower steaks and call them karma-free steaks and post it on Instagram and inspire people, you know? And I did it with the leaves and everything. The leaves are delicious. I put some cordyceps powder. That's a medicinal mushroom that's salty and very good for male, female reproductive health, libido, things like this. Tastes cheesy too. It's really nice to put in your food. And I put some cayenne pepper and tahini butter. You know, I really made it hearty. And maybe the tahini butter is like having it fried, probably not quite as heavy because I don't use any oil. I just put it in some water, and in the oven, and it's delicious. And it's like a grounding, you know, when you're eating very clean all day and you want something maybe for emotions in the evening. But I'll tell you, cauliflower in general, like it feels bloaty. Like if I just ate it like that, even if I ate it without the tahini butter and had it as clean as possible, and of course you cook cruciferous, you don't be just eating it raw like kale. All you vegans eating raw kale, like how are you guys doing it? Definitely want to cook those. You know, we're into raw foods here, so when we do something cooked, it's more of like a grounding thing for the emotions because fruit makes you very high vibration, high electrical. So you're kind of flying around. So yeah, very interesting how filling, you know, that option is. Cooked broccoli, all these cruciferous, when you cook them, they're very filling. And then they have to deep fry them and add all that oil and salt. We don't recommend cooked refined oils on the program. So if that's all we had to say about that, I can go back to this topic, what drives you to stay high raw fruitarian. I guess part of that is that we want to feel really good. And for people who are like, what is high raw anyways? You want to help explain that? Like, what is being on a high raw? Forget about fruitarian. We can tackle that next. But what does being high raw mean? First of all, it means you're not living as raw as law. So you're not trying to be 100% only living foods. You're being a little flexible. You're high raw. You're not fully raw. Anything to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose it's developing a system, not a system, but developing a way that you eat more raw.
Okay.
And I think it's easier to do it in the morning. Start with fruit in the morning. veggies at lunch, and then maybe a little bit of cooked food at the end of the day.
Yeah, that sounds high raw. That's like raw till 4. Some of you might be familiar
Hmm.
with that. And you say easier to start with fruit, easier on the digestive tract, cleansing for the bowels. And what do you mean by easier?
Well, from my experience, it's easy to get into the routine
Mm,
that the
mm,
first thing you do in the morning is fruit,
mm, mm.
um, because you feel it right away, and your body really is used to it. It likes it.
God, I
And
remember the
this,
days when I was like committed to big bowls of dark grapes every morning,
mm,
guys. Let them digest 15, 20 minutes. Quick to digest juicy fruit, high water content fruit, and then eat whatever you want. We don't mind, but I like how you're describing this high raw. And for those of you who are joining in with us live, you're so welcome here. Thank you, dear ones. And just let us know if you have any feedback on what drives you to stay high raw fruitarian or have a lot of living foods, as a lifestyle of abundance and vitality.
because the our critters, all the microorganism as well as um, the worms and all that live in our bodies, they they seem to come out at night.
They come out at
No-
night, they live in an acid environment, they
Yeah, and
have a
that's
low
when you're
consciousness, very low vibrational energy.
and that's when at night you want that candy or you want salty food, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They come
so
out when you're like starting to relax,
yeah,
and
and
then they
here's the
bug people. Like people can't even sleep sometimes when they have too much
right,
parasites.
and that's the thing with detox is that you're facing you're facing
Oh my
the
God. Yes, Pascal. I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
you're instead of like I want to say
Feeding
dev
them and making them calm down. You feed them, right? And you calm down. Now
yeah,
they're actually demanding that they be
right.
fed. And you're just like, I'm okay that you're there. You're
So
not going to
yeah,
bring me down.
so you have to be aware of it, right? Um,
So good. Very
and
good.
they're your babies, and that's and that here comes the spiritual and emotional aspect is that this is what you created.
Well, we live
You
symbiotically with all these,
yeah.
micro organisms, and we have to give them
So
love too.
exactly, and they need. I mean, there's a way to deal with them, and it's too easy to just scorn and say, get angry.
Or blame all your problems on parasites.
Right,
There's
right.
full communities that's all they talk about is deworming and
Okay,
blaming the parasites for this and that. And it's like,
because
don't
they're
forget
scared.
yeah, and don't forget they were there to help you. You had animal flesh, and
Right,
parasites are just
exactly.
involved in the
They're
putrefaction, the rotting of
yeah,
this. It doesn't digest. It doesn't have
they're their
any
cleanup crew.
Yes,
They're the ones clean. They were cleaning your shit for
yes,
your whole life, and now
yes,
you just want to dump them. And
exactly.
in fact, if you get into the mentality that if you get scared, so you'll try to deworm yourself as much as possible. But if you don't have a hold on the diet, the proper diet, then all they're gonna do is come back because they make eggs or whichever they reproduce, and if you're still eating toxic food, then that's the environment they breed in. So you're
Might
just
as well
gonna, yeah,
might as
that's
well find
why.
a balance with them, let
Right,
them be there, but don't let them go crazy. Like once you get too much of this, they can really pull you down. So I understand why people are concerned.
hmm but to me, it's very trippy and it's very cool that, I mean,
I'm
think
sensing
about
this
it.
energy from you. You're very excited about it. I love it. Yes,
And this is,
Pascal.
I haven't dewormed myself, but
Well, you use all the herbs, right? The parasite
yeah,
GM and stuff
but
like
I
that. You
know
have.
when I do, I've got, I'll store that. I'm gonna keep them in for a little while, maybe, because they're part of you.
Oh, like how Dr. Morse like has parasites in a
Yeah,
jar and like
yeah.
from certain of his clients that he's like, oh my God, look how long this one is and stuff. Oh God,
Oh
it's
man,
crazy.
yeah.
Go for a colonic when you're on this program and watch them all move out of you.
And I just want to add to this that this is why we do a little bit of everything, right? You do a little bit of um, you work on the whole body a little bit at a time. You can't focus on one thing for a long time because it's a holistic, right?
That's right.
And the lymph, it's a whole body, and you can't poke at one place. You got to
And
sort of
multiple bodies
get
and
everywhere, and then you
mental
get the
body,
yeah,
emotional
right,
body, spiritual,
exactly. Yes,
astral,
yes.
working holistically.
W, yeah.
WHOLISTIC, holistically. So, what is fruitarian, anyways? And are you a fruitarian? I have to say, I'm not a fruitarian, and I love to live as a high raw fruitarian, like high up on the fruits, but not completely on fruit.
Well, it's an interesting question because we, it seems like we are a fruitarian species.
Mm,
So if you look at it that way, then yes, but um,
but
I
in terms
can't
of what
say.
you eat, so a fruitarian would eat only fruit, but a
Well,
high fruitarian would be someone who eats a lot of fruit, mostly fruit, and then still has some salads.
mhm,
Usually, if they're already that high into the fruits, they've already given up the animal flesh and the grains.
mhm.
Or they might indulge now and then and just say, oh, I'm high fruitarian. And sometimes I eat some grains and some
Well,
whatever.
the way I see it is that you raw, um, and you would use fruit to fast on fruit, and then continue on detoxing, helping the body to, clean the lymph and just further cleansing. And then you would come back from that to your, I suppose, ideal diet that does ground you because um, I, I think it's rare for someone born here to be able to go on 100% fruit. And then, because if you do, you're so high up, you don't even need to be here, in my
Well,
opinion.
this is a really good point. A lot of the students from our school with Dr. Robert Morris have told me that they went back to animal flesh. And I believe that it's because they were so lacking in balance. They went too hard too fast. And they went so high on the fruits that they didn't even really feel a part of this world anymore. And then they were like,
Yeah, that's
oh,
what
well, the
happens.
solution is to just eat, some of them are doing raw meat. Dr. Morse did a whole video recently about this because some people were alarmed, like other detox coaches are contacting me from the school and they're like, what do you think of so and so? He's eating meat now. I'm like, I don't even follow his journey. Like, I don't think anything of it. When my mind wants to judge, it's because they're my dear ones and they're my loved ones. I don't follow people and care about what they're doing. I need to stop thinking. That's what I need to do. And that kind of stuff makes me think more. And of course, you can't stop the mind from thinking. As a meditator, I know that you can find breaks in thought. It's more space between thoughts. And at the same time, the mind is designed to think. And judgments, thought forms that are judgmental, these are just passed on to us. It's not like you're creating them, it's like usually from the collective. And ego, oh, I'm better than you because I'm a high raw fruitarian. No, I'm not better than you. In fact, I have to really work with being more balanced, and having dear ones in my life who are not so into the program can also help me to feel balanced. I can appreciate what they bring in, and I can help them to find balance. Almost like this: a husband and wife, for example. One is very positive, optimistic. You often see this, right? And the other one is kind of more miserable, negative energy, right? The two get together, and maybe the high one, this high optimist, comes a little bit more into realistic, logical. And the other one comes out of their kind of victim and comes a little bit more balanced, so we all help each other out. And yeah, I mean, this is very important. I'm glad you brought this balance up. I know you really focus on that. And I think it's great as a coach to be grounded and yeah, more working with the emotional and mental body than being so obsessed with what you're eating all the time.
Mm-hmm. I just want to emphasize how fascinating it is, the concept of, because it's happened to me, 100% fruit, and then you digest your experience, your emotions, and then you're so good. You feel so good, so balanced.
You're
so
running
connected.
on something different, like field strength or something,
But when that happens, you have no reason to do anything. And because things are perfect, and you can see the world and say it is perfect the way it is. So that's what's tricky about life, I suppose, is that what the hell are you supposed to do? I guess this is more of an existential question, but you just have to choose what to do. So
beautiful how you reflect and contemplate, Pascal. Thank you for sharing.
But what I just want to,
I'm sure many of you out there can relate.
When you were talking, something came into my mind where instead of being, because you can fall into all fruit for 2 weeks and then fling back to all the bad food, and you can go back and forth.
How many of you have broken a fast on something that's just outrageous? I know I have.
And in my view, it's better, or for myself, I'd much rather it sort of bridge those two worlds, which is the yin yang of my own life, and mesh them together so that I'm eating fruit here, and then I'm eating, some cooked foods, and then everything, a whole bunch of cool stuff that I'm learning how to feed myself correctly. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and I'm thrilled
instead of being back and forth.
I'm thrilled where this conversation went, because the question was, what is high raw fruitarian anyways? And it went into this beauty between the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and being human in the third dimension,
Yes.
but being a spiritual being in a human experience in the third dimension, you know, a 9-dimensional being. So this is cool. And of course, I'm not even surprised the direction it took talking with you, dear one. Of course. Never surprises me anymore how deep you can go. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Just the grace and the beauty that you bring is so powerful. I think people can pick up on this, you know, hopefully people are tuning in. Love you if you are. If you have any questions, let us know. We're here to answer your questions live every couple weeks. We do this here at the Raw Reset, Pascal and I. And yeah, this is definitely what drives me to stay high raw fruitarian is having balance and, you know, clear bowels, clear mind. The fruit cleans the bowels. The salads clean the bowels. Your bowels are clean, your mind is clear. You know, your connection to source is there. This clarity, this peace comes through. And it's not to the point where, yeah, you're so blissed out that you can't relate to anyone. I've been there. You know, I've done long juice feasts, 40 days on Concord grape juice, 9 days, like different series of different feasts, fruit feasting and juice feasting. We don't call it fasting anymore, guys. And at the same time, you know, we've been talking a lot lately, the past live I did with Kuba as well, that we don't promote these long, you know, fasts anymore. We want to promote intermittent fasting, high fruitarian, and then working with where you're at. You know, it's obviously different if you're coming from a really crazy, like, you know, dis-ease you're working with. We get some cases, like some real strong neurological cases, like MS, Lou Gehrig's, you know, this kind of thing. Of course, you're going to have to live in the other realms, guys. You could be floating above the earth because you're going to need to do like pretty much all fruit. If your, you know, desire is to maybe just feel more vitality and you're not working with a really heavy state of dis-ease, and maybe there's just some eczema or some gastritis or arthritis, whatever, we're using their names. We are not talking about diseases here. We really believe in just states of dis-ease. And if you're looking at diseases, then go talk to your doctor, you know, because this is educational. This is, yeah, just understanding that there's nothing that the body can't heal from. And we don't give labels to symptoms, poor health symptoms. Poor health symptoms literally just point you in the direction of what you need to do to heal. You know, the colder the person, the weaker the thyroid. How do we work with the thyroid? Let you know, of course, high raw fruitarian supports healing the thyroid. High botanical use, you know, herbal medicine, tinctures, herbal teas. I know Pascal does all his juicing. You juice ginger and all these really nice herbs. And, you know, for me, one of the biggest things is the hydration. When you feel dehydrated, your lymph system, we've talked a lot about the lymph in past videos. I encourage you all, if you haven't tuned in, to view those, you know, on my YouTube channel, Janetta Nikini, or in the Raw Reset group, where basically we talk about how alkali are hydrating and acids are dehydrating. Well, how do you feel when you're dehydrated? There's stiffnesses, there's pains, the lymph system stops moving. You have deposits in your body, tumors, cysts, polyps, gallstones, kidney stones, you know, all of these deposits, we're just going to categorize them on, are acids and toxins from a dehydrated, acidic condition. So I want to stay hydrated. I want to stay on top of the fact that my body's always accumulating acid. You know, I want to prevent stones of any sort, deposits of any sort. So this is part of my motivation to stay, you know, my drive to stay high raw fruitarian.
Health.
Right. Health and vitality.
And life.
Abundance. you know, and being able to hold space for others because you are so clear and pure. That's why you can go into a place where they're eating 5 different dead animals, you know, and you could be around these denser energies because it doesn't affect you. You're a clear
And
vessel.
you're synchronized too with the world. There's something that happens. You're grounded, you're connected, hence you're synchronized with the movements, and you're placed at different, and people are placed in front of you for them to help you and you to help them.
Especially if you're really working with your spiritual path, because obviously everyone's on a spiritual path. You know, you're all here to expand and become this elevated version of yourself, this most divine, or, you know, this most expanded version of yourself, I could say. And so you're going to get people that trigger you and make you feel like, oh, this is icky. Why am I judging them? Why am I like having expectations of others? And it's just like the perfect mirror to heal, because you've chosen, if you're really actively working to heal your mental, emotional body, your spiritual body, you're going to get those people that show you, you thought you were further ahead. You thought you were like really tapped in. You don't judge anyone anymore. Okay, here you go. So much work, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely not
the
easy
real work. The real work.
That's awareness. So yeah, putting yourself out there. My desire to help others is a driving force as to why I want to stay with the high raw fruitarianism, because and the herbal medicine, because you can really only offer that which you are. So what I've noticed is when I'm really into it, if I'm really going like really structured and high, you know, fruit, I'll start getting the people who are serious. They'll come to me and they'll ask for coaching. And I want to be of service in this life. So do it yourself, and then you'll attract. Like, how did I meet you, Pascal? It's just because we were following, you know, this journey, this path. And at the end of the day, when you were like, oh, I contemplate on like, what are we even here for? Like when you're really pure, right? When you're really tapped in and you're this clear vessel, you think, oh, well, everything's blissful. Like, I don't know if I have any motivation to do anything now. I think that that's actually really good awareness, because we're supposed to just be able to be and flow and not be chasing and thinking that like, I'm a coach and I'm a, you know, iridologist, and like I have to go and work at the health food stores and that's what I do, and all these different hats and stuff. It's like, I could love myself even if I chose not to do anything. It's just, I do have, you know, we all need to have money, and we all need to nourish ourselves and have access to foods, and these things cost money. So we do these things, but we can still love ourselves when we're not doing anything and we're not accomplishing anything. We're still whole and perfect, imperfectly perfect.
Right.
Well, this was nice, Pascal. I thank you so much. I don't know if there's any last words or anything. I mean, we're at the hour mark. I love how we like honor the hour, and that way when people show up, they know, okay, we're here for an hour, and we respect everyone's time.
No, I just want to thank you. This helps me a lot, you know, more than you think. And yeah, that's about it. You know, we're here together, and it's good to talk. You know, sometimes I think there's too much talk.
Yeah, definitely.
But it depends how deep you go, or how it depends what the subject is, because if you're actually talking, and I'm talking generally, um, I like those conversations that there's something, there's you're analyzing the world instead of just talking about this or that. And when
Yeah, and
you're
what about the
actually
level of vulnerability? Like you came right on the call and we're completely open and vulnerable, and that shows your courage and your strength. So thank you, because many of us have been taught, oh, don't show if I'm in a bad mood, like I'm irritable, don't say it, try to please everyone else, pretend you're happy. Oh, what, you're sad and you're a child, your parents will come and say, oh, come on, cheer up, here's an ice cream cone. And we're just like, okay, you're irritable, let's honor it. And look how light you became after you vocalized it.
Well, but that's the power of knowing the words, knowing how to describe certain things, and the definitions of words
Yeah,
is
and being able to
important.
label the
Yeah.
feeling state too,
Yeah, even though
without
labeling,
having
yeah,
judgment around it. Just, oh, this is
right,
how it is.
right.
It's changing. I know that in the next moment, you hang up the call, you feel a little lighter, because this is what happens when you shine the light on some of the dark. Sometimes talk can be therapy. At the same time, I still crave a lot of silence. I can't be in big crowds. I prefer to have long periods in solitude, and then I prefer to have intentional talk.
That's it. Intentional talk. That's
Well, I
it.
mean, you've studied quantum grammar, like you understand the depth of speech. Words have power, they have vibration. And choosing, it's very beautiful to talk to you. I have many people that I talk to that are not aware of these things. And I've been really into Abraham's teachings, the Esther Hicks channels, Abraham, and Holy Lord, like learning that what I focus on grows. So maybe not needing to vocalize, complaints. I used to be a big complainer in my life.
Yeah.
So I love how, you can state the feeling state, even if it's a negative one, and then you could just move forward into the next moment. It doesn't have to be like, oh, but why am I feeling irritable? Or why, this negative emotion, and that the mind makes it so much more like, oh my God, you're neither the thought or the emotion. So why are we
That's
giving it
it.
so much
Right.
power?
It's not you. It's not
Not
you.
you.
You're saying you're essentially taking it away from you and just saying, okay, this is how I feel
Don't let it
now.
pull you
Right.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when driving this car, Muji is a powerful teacher that I love, love, love. His teacher was Papa G. Not so familiar with him. I think that's his name. And if you go on YouTube, Mooji, just reminds you to just be and to worry less, because even after you think you've done so much healing on all the bodies, and you really feel like you've freed up the ego, it comes back and it tries to pull you in. And all I do now is, wow, okay. I see that. Thank you for that perspective. And I don't choose to feed it. It's like, what wolf are you feeding? The black wolf or the white wolf? Because this life has so much joy and bliss, and there's adventure ahead for all of us. There's happiness, there's peace, whatever it is that you desire, it's waiting for you, just on another timeline. So just feed into that, what you want. And I love you so much. Thank you. And thank you to everyone. I love you all. I'm really excited to be sharing in this way. It's my joy and my passion. And we're here. You reach out for anything you need. And we say goodbye now, Pascal. Yeah, or anything else to add?
No, I think that's it. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, namaste, dear one. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you to everyone who
Me
tuned
too.
in. Lots of love. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.